Oh, it's time. It's time for me to go live. Oh, it's time. Time for me to go live. I'm live. Hello, everyone in the internet world. Those of you out there who have joined me during our plague. We will be writing to ignore the fact that our planet is turning into The Walking Dead, only it's not really. But if you're writing about that, then it is. Hello, I am Victoria Wilder. Welcome to my home. This is our weekly write-in. We are finally back on Wednesdays. We've been doing it on Thursdays for the last couple of weeks, but we should be doing regular Wednesdays from the now on and into the hereafter. Anywho, welcome. So we will be writing. I will chat a little bit for a couple of minutes, and we will start our writing sprint either on the 20 or the 25, depending on who comes in the next like four or so minutes. And then I want to say hi and chat with you guys. Let me know how you're doing. How are you dealing with the coronavirus here in New York? A lot of things are happening. Closed places are closing down. People are self-quarantining or just kind of keeping to themselves. And since New York is already a place where social distancing is just kind of common, like we already kind of keep away from each other. My personal schedule hasn't changed that much. I have already been an inside person for the majority of my time here anyway, so not much has changed for me. But I know a lot of people who are out of work, a lot of people who are kind of freaking out and don't really know where things are heading. None of us really know where things are heading, but we can at least do our best to maintain some kind of sanity. And for me, that is writing. For me, that is creating stories and ideas. And I could either create stories and ideas by playing The Sims, or I can write my book. And so I'm trying to write my book. And there's so many things going on that it can be kind of distracting and hard for me to focus. Hopefully you haven't been dealing with the same thing, but if you have, let me know and we can commiserate about it together. I am writing the sequel to Lullaby of the Lilitu. So I wrote this book, Lullaby of the Lilitu, which is my debut novel. And I started writing it in like 2011, and I published it in May of 2019. So it's been under a year so far, but I really, really want to have less than 2 years between this and the next book. I actually want to have the next book published this year in 2020. So, if we're all still here, we all have something to read. And that is quite the undertaking because I just started writing it a couple, like 2 months ago, like actively drafting it. I've been, what's the word I'm looking for? I've been plotting it. I was plotting it for a while, and I was planning this book for a long time, even while writing this book. But actually writing the book now, that's only been, I think I started at the end of February or the middle of February. So I really just started drafting this book, and I'm way behind where I thought I was going to be at this point, which is fine because I'm still way ahead of where I expected to be, or where I would have expected to be if I had started this book 2 years ago. Even I would have known that it would take a lot longer, and I would have expected that and been fine with that. And now I'm like, I wanted to go faster, so it's not fast enough. I don't know how to explain it, but either way, I'm still writing, working on this book. It's coming along. It has not yet even reached the 10,000 word stage, just to give you an idea of what I mean by it's not where I wanted it to be, because I was really, really hoping to be much further along. I am hoping the energy of Camp NaNoWriMo helps give me a boost, because in November, NaNoWriMo is always a really, really good motivator for me. Camp is usually a little less of a motivator because fewer people are doing it, but because most of us are probably going to be in our homes for a few weeks, maybe more people will do it, and that energy will be just as fun and intense as the November NaNoWriMo. So yeah, that is what I'll be working on. The sequel to Lullaby of the Lilitu, Scourge of the Lilitu, or Scourge of the Lilitu, depending on how you pronounce it. I've heard both ways. And I've also written a short story in this collection here called the Voices of Christmas, which is the collection, and the short story I wrote is called A Child for Christmas. I like it. Go check it out. You might as well read it. What else are you going to be doing? Writing and reading and eating the snacks and drinking the wine. That's what I'm doing. Also wrote some poetry. If you'd like to read some poetry, I do. I am working on some new poetry to maybe bring out in the next couple of years. So be on the lookout for that. I'm not going to go into detail about that because it's kind of just something I'm doing, just as this first one was. Let's see. We will start our sprint on the 25. So that gives us a couple more minutes to let people come in, let people let me know or tell me, what you guys are writing, what you're working on during this night, what you are hoping for, how you're dealing with the whole quarantine thing. Sorry, I saw something on Facebook. I have to close Facebook because if I get a notification, I'm going to want to look at it. So let me know how this is going for you. For me, it's just been trying to stay chill. Like I said, my schedule itself hasn't changed that much. So really, I just have to be wary of the changes that may come in the future, I guess, if that makes sense. And also, my partner's schedule has changed a lot. And so he's home now, and he's home a lot more often. And that is an adjustment to be made, but it's not the worst adjustment. It's okay. So yeah, we'll start in 3 minutes. Like usual, I didn't prepare any prompts. I didn't prepare anything because who would I be if I prepared for stuff? If I wasn't just running around like a chicken with her head cut off, screaming nonsense, then would I really be Victoria? Probably a better version, but we're never gonna meet her, so screw that lady. Parallel universe Victoria. So I have water, but I also have Le Vin Rouge because it is just one of those days where it just feels right, Just feels like I want a little bit of wine. I'm going to have some tacos later. That makes sense to me. Wine and tacos, like ideal life here, guys. It's not bad. This is the first time I've actually tasted it. It's not bad. It's not, I don't know. I don't understand wine. Someone teach me about wine, please. I just know that I drink it if it's dark and red because it makes me feel like a vampire drinking blood. Hi, Josie. Oh, Josie's here. Hello. Hi. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the write-in. And Josie is a friend I met online, and we are Instagram buddies. And Josie's pretty cool. So go subscribe to Josie's channel too because Josie also does write-ins and other cool videos. Mostly write-ins, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she's fallen into the write-in community like I have, because I was doing other videos. You can go back on my channel and see. Occasionally, I will do random chats still or random videos about these things, but mostly I just want to write. Josie, oh, you're sick. I'm sorry, honey. That's not fun. Everybody's sick. I hope it's not the serious virus. I hope it's just like the flu, which is also pretty serious, but we have vaccines and meds for that. I hope, you're taken care of, Josie. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Wash your hands. Drink Theraflu tea. Drink elderberry tea if you can get your hands on it. Eat a lot of raw garlic and honey. That's like my go-to. And turmeric. Those are my main immune boosters, plus vitamin C if you can get that as well. My Theraflu tea is where I probably get most of my vitamin C because I hate citrus fruit. So we're actually going to start in a minute, less than 30 seconds probably. We're going to do 15 minutes to start, and then we'll move into 20-minute sprints later, and we'll chat in between. So if you want to say anything, let me know. But we're going to go ahead and start. 15 minutes on the clock, and I will see you shortly. That was 15 minutes. Okay, how did you guys do? You guys didn't get a chance to tell me beforehand, but let me know how or what you're working on tonight, and how you're feeling about it, I guess. I was able to write 219 words. So I'm just going to put that down so that I can reset my word counter. And yeah, I stopped in the middle of a sentence. Oh, Binary's here. Hi, Binary. Welcome to the game of clones, because I am probably someone's clone. Shh. But yeah, the section that I was writing in, what is on my body? Is that even on me? It is, right? What's happening to me? I stopped in the middle of a sentence just like I did yesterday. So sometimes it takes me a minute to catch up, which is a little bit of what I was doing. But I also ended up having to look at the other book, this book. It's not old, the first book, and remind myself of some things because I was kind of forgetting what their home area kind of looks like, and I needed to have that information for the scene that I'm writing now. I figured it out. It's fine. And then I made up some technology as I was writing, technology that I did not intend to make up, but it was necessary. You know what I mean? So that happens. Has that ever happened to any of you where you are writing something and you're like, oh, well, I need this new technology, or I need them to be able to do this specific thing. So why don't I just make up a device that will help make this thing happen? I do that sometimes, not as often as you might think, but I do like playing with technology. I did set this book in 2033, which is actually only 13 years from now. But I was hoping we'd have a better society in 13 years from now. I'm still hoping, you can't really tell what society is going to be. 13 years ago, it was kind of different, not that much different. So that's kind of how I'm going about looking at time in my books. That it's going to be kind of different, but not that different. Technology is going to be a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better, but it's not necessarily, we're not going to be in flying cars a la the Jetsons anytime soon. Maybe. We might be in boat cars because those already exist, but they might be more common, when people are trying to travel the world, and they might become cheaper. Who knows? So I have like a cat hair on my face, as always. Hi. So let me know how that went for you. Let me know what you guys were writing, what you're working on now. Hello, Josie and Binary. Those are my regulars. Yeah, and how are you dealing with this whole plague thing? I gotta stop calling it a plague, but it is being treated like it's a plague, right? So, who knows? Yeah, I think we're gonna start our next write-in maybe in 2 minutes if nobody has any questions or anything that they really want to say, because I was like really in the middle of this scene and I was like really into this scene, and it's almost the end of this chapter. So then we're going to be moving into another chapter that I'm kind of excited to write, just because the characters that are in this chapter, I haven't written about them in this book yet, and I've been happy and excited to get to them. So the characters in this next scene, the main characters, not the main characters in the book, but the main characters in the next scene, I'm really just excited to get to that scene, and I'm excited to see what's going to take place here, and what we can hope for, what we're going to be experiencing. I mean, I know because I outlined it, but I didn't put everything in there. But there's some fun stuff in this next scene that I'm excited about. And then after this scene, then we move into the scene with the actual main characters of the book. And so there's Rio, who is the main character of this book, and then there is a character connected to Rio who also becomes the main character alongside Rio in the next book. And we're going to be doing it in the same style as we did with the first book, which was a switch between third and first person point of view, which works for some people, doesn't work for everybody, but I like it. I like giving myself the opportunity to deep dive into the mind of my main character and then jumping out of that and looking at everybody else. Oh, it is the 8:45, so yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do 20 minutes on the clock. Let's, right, let's get some words in. Doobie doobie doo. Doo 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 doo. Stop doing that, God. Well then, I guess that was 20 minutes. Wow. Okay. How'd you do? Let me know how you did during that 20-minute sprint. How did it feel for you? Like, what are you happy about? What are you frustrated with? All those fun things. Let me know how that went. I was able to write 319 words, so that's 100 words more than the last time. Exactly 100 words. I don't know if that means anything, but here we are. And I'm just writing the numbers so I can reset my word counter. So in this chapter that I'm writing right now, a character, like multiple characters in my books speak French in this one and in Lullaby of the Lilitude. This particular character speaks a lot more French than anyone else, and I kind of forgot a lot of stuff. I've been practicing my French like every few nights, or well, a few nights a week. I've been practicing using Babbel, but the particular way that this character talks, it's Franglish. It's like a mixture of French and English, and the main character Rio also speaks that way. And so I've had to like refresh myself a bit. And with him, because up to this point I hadn't had a character who spoke French, it just wasn't in my head. And so now we're getting to this character, and I'm like, wait, how does not only just the fact that he speaks it, but how does he use his French? How does he actually communicate naturally, like in the first book? So I had to like go back and look into the first book and just kind of look through his dialogue and just kind of try to figure that out. And that was like the last 2 minutes or so. But I did get some writing in, and there's gonna be more. We'll do one more writing sprint because we have reached almost an hour, so we will do one more writing sprint, and we can either do that on the 10 or the 15. If you have a preference, if you don't have a preference, I'll probably do it on the 15 because the 10 is only in 2 minutes from now. But if you want to do it in 2 minutes, let your girl know, and I can probably make it happen. The thing is happening that always happens where this light, as you see the difference it makes, this light really hurts my eyes. So I'm trying to figure out someday the best way to light myself without having this bright white thing in my eye. I've had too many bright white things in my eyes. I need a break. You know what I mean? I hope you don't know what I mean if you're younger than like 20. So yeah, we will do the 15. Binary votes the 15. So yeah, we'll do the 15. Let me know what you were working on. How'd it go? How many words did you write? If you're counting words. If you're not counting words, how do you feel about your progress so far? What are you working on? Binary, I got about 130. It went okay, but I was more occupied with reading things over, trying to figure out if the scene is too depressing or not. Oh, there's no such thing as too depressing. I mean, I'm sure there is, but just write it anyway. Who cares if it's a little too depressing? There are people who like that, like me. Like if you can make me cry, if you can make me feel emotions deep in my soul, then I appreciate your writing, even if those emotions are horrifying pain or fear. Like I love fear and I love horror. So if you can create that in me, then I say don't hold yourself back. Don't hold any of those emotions back. So John spins fanciful tales to pass the tales. Girl, speak like an American, like an English American from New York. So John speaks fanciful tales. I feel like I still said it. To pass the time. Fantasies, nothing more of doors bursting open to reveal worried faces. Oh. Trembling hands reaching to embrace him, carrying voices telling him he's safe. Intriguing. Sounds like an afterlife kind of thing, or like a connection with the afterlife, with the dead. I mean, that's just from what I see. Cool. And also, like, doors tend to represent portals and transitions. So I often will think if there's something spooky involving doors, I generally think afterlife or like death of some sort. So that's cool. I'm excited to read more about that. Binary, do you write books or short stories or flash fiction? Have you published anywhere? If so, where can I find it? Where can I tell my viewers to find it and my readers? I love sharing authors, indie or otherwise. I specifically prefer indie authors, but I just love sharing the authors that I meet and sharing their stuff, sharing their work, getting it out there. I don't have a huge audience, but I figure if we all do it together, then we can create a nice audience and like really just kind of help spread our work around. And especially now when people are dealing with something kind of depressing naturally, having to be quarantined, a lot of people having to stay home, having to keep to yourself. I feel like this is the perfect time to pick up a book. This is the perfect time to find something that brings you a bit of peace, a bit of joy, a bit of even escapism, maybe not too much escapism because you don't want to lose yourself, but like just find art, like let art carry us through this situation. That's always what has happened during great times of distress in society. People have let art help them through. And that's what I want. And that's a great time for us writers who can offer that art. Gesundheit. Binary writes short stories and the occasional fanfic that they don't tend to share it anywhere. Yeah, writers supporting each other is very important to me, because I feel like a lot of writers have been supportive of me, and even without actively knowing it, like I don't know personally Joanna Penn, but her work for the writing community has been a huge support for me. You know what I mean? So supporting each other in every way that we can think of. This is the perfect time for it, as is every time. Support each other all the time. I don't actually read a lot of fanfic, and I don't write any fanfic. I've never been into that so much. But apparently that works really well for some people. Hashtag EL James, hashtag 50 Shades of Grey. Fanfic can work for some people. It's never been something that I've really read or been into because I've always been of the mind that like if this author wants that to be a part of the story, then they will tell that. Or if I want to make up some theories or something, then I can do that in The Sims or something, which is also rare, but I will occasionally like download characters from like my favorite shows and movies in The Sims. I don't really make them that well because I'm very random with a lot of the things that I do. So I will sometimes just hit random and be like, that Sim looks good. And I also have like specific stories that I like to tell myself in that game. I'm very much a storyteller player, and less of a builder and creator player. I like to download stuff from the gallery a lot, but generally it's just me telling myself these stories and enacting them with The Sims. But while I'm writing, I try to limit my simming, because I feel like I use a lot of my creative energy just playing that game, which is fine. I want to make sure I'm done writing this book before I ever play The Sims again, which has been hard. So hard, especially now with the whole quarantine thing. I just want to play The Sims all the time. And I'm like, no, nothing's really changed for you. You still got to write. You still got to get those words in. So the 15 is in 1 minute. So we are going to go ahead and do our last sprint of the night. It's going to be a 20-minute sprint. Unless you vote for a different time, you have 60 seconds to make that vote if you want a different time. But otherwise, we're going to be doing 20 minutes and just getting these words in. We're doing good so far. I'm very proud of us. I'm very proud of you, and I'm proud of me. I got some writing in yesterday as well. And then I got some writing in not the day before, but the day before that. So I've been getting a little more consistent, but it's still a struggle. It's going to probably be a lot more consistent in time. Like just if I keep going. Okay, it is the 15. Let's do our last sprint. 20 minutes on the clock, my friends. And I will be back after the 20 minutes, and we'll chat for a couple more minutes before I leave. So if you have anything you want to say, any questions, any thoughts, go ahead and put those in the chat, and let's get started. Strangers in the night.
All right.
Shh.
Sorry.
can see my computer, kitty. Yeah. Someone's got an itchy ear, and it's not me this time.